the men we are meant to love. We were told about them as girls, those men who would fuck you gently or hard depending on what you wanted. Men who never shamed you for the choices you made when you didn't know those men, going down on you in the shower, one hand on each of your thighs and a tongue in your vulva. Men washing your hair gently with long, firm fingers. The men who would spoon you on nights when you slept with your fear. Or men who wanted to kiss you for hours or spend a day on each part of you. Oh, those men who would cook delicious food that you would eat in bed before fucking again. The men who sit and listen and say something in return that cracks open the egg of your knowing, that coaxes out something you didn't see, a shiny voice that makes you shudder with the great surprise of it. What we wouldn't do for those men. What sweet intimacies we would spread before them. What delicious ways to please we would find for those good men who feel it too, who open up, who read books and share, who never spread their legs on the train or mansplain at meetings. Men who may be grown at housework, but do not expect a fanfare when stacking the dishes or plates. Do not grow bitter, because they must do what their fathers never did. Those men who do not laugh with the boys at the stolen photo of a naked lover that a friend flashes on his phone. Do not shove a woman into the spare room at the college party. Do not touch the behind of their co-worker. Do not force their lover to have an abortion. Do not prevent their lover from having an abortion. Do not assume. Do not seize. Do not feel entitled. Do not. And you, my lover, staring into the red distance, are you one of those men or not?
So if you wanted to know about a writer that has particularly influenced me, the one that's on my mind at the moment is Guardful Mechain. Guerrero was a medieval Welsh poet, Welsh language poet, writing in Cymraeg. And recently I've been translating some of her poems, which appeared in a chapbook called Aubard after a French movie. I first read Guardful some years ago when I was in my early 20s. And I really liked her poems then. I just thought, how could she write such erotic, frank, true to the body poems? It seemed impossible for me at the time. And more recently, I came to Guardful again, and I was just so impressed, not only by the fact that she was writing poems that seemed really relevant to things that are happening today. So thinking about body shaming or body positivity, thinking about #MeToo, thinking about reclaiming women's desire, women's sexuality, and being able to talk about that. And it just impressed me so much that I wanted to translate these poems. I'm also really impressed by her skill, that she writes brilliantly in the Englyn form. And just to have that mastery and then such provocative and wild and just full of spirit in terms of the content, I was just really impressed.
Guerrero wets her petticoat. In my camisole wet through, my chemise and my sweet silk panties too, I'll never be dry again, unless it is true that good fucks pass by like rain clouds in June. Guerrero asked David Lloyd about a new world. Always the everyday emptiness, to watch and lose a wilderness. Has the time come as we undress for a world to arrive that is not this? Guerrero tells David Lloyd about the end of the world. Before the wars, we'll look to the stars. More miracles happen on oceans than at altars, and though presidents do give orders, witches strip and dance on shore. Guardful curses a man for beating a woman. In his chest let a sharp stone slide, slanted down to split his sternum wide. Kneecaps shatter as hands cry to hold the heft of spurting heart inside. Ode to the Cunt. Every dumb as fuck, wasted poet, all of them mansplainers. They'll spare me and my sisters if they know what's good for them. Everyone writes empty tweets for the girls on Wine Street, long threads, though they take the best for granted, FFS. They praise a girl's hair, stitch her dress with love, her body and all around. They praise the brows over her eyes, or the lovely shape of her, how smooth her breasts are, how arms in bright sleeves are beautiful, not to mention her hands. Still a poet is spelling his song to the night, thanking fuck for creating this woman. No praise though, for between the legs, the space inside where sperm meets egg, or the warm cunt, a circle broken, incandescent, when I loved, hot as fuck, the cunt under my skirt. Fierce cunt, deeper cave, strong and exact as a walled garden, red as kite feathers. Beautiful cunt, opening like a valley, mouth of two broad lips to suck a spoon, a finger, or whatever length she so desires. Cunt swelling between cheeks behind, I sing you red twin. But some men virtue signalling. These nice guys, if they have the chance, never fail the fuckers to take a feel, take the space as their own. So fuck all the witless men, himpathy poets, and sing a song to the cunt for riches, no doubt. Queen of odes, silken, written along two seams, the flag of a sweet fleek cunt flutters a greeting. Sharp thicket, soaked with love, a forest proud with fucking, perfect as it is. Tender border, fur for a fuckable ball sack, girls' dense grove, deluxe booty call, or gorgeous bush. Thank fuck for it.
At the moment, I've just been reading books and books and books of poetry because I've been editing an anthology for Saron with Christian Evans, which is called 100 Poems to Save the Earth. And so I've been looking for ecological writing, but I think too often there tends to be a view of nature writing or writing about the environment that it's the premise of white men, of white straight men. And I've really been trying to challenge that. And so I've been reading poets from America, like Amy Nezukuma Tatil and Camille Dungy and Ross Gay, wonderful poets. And then also, you know, in the UK, I've been reading around poets like Roger Robinson and Polly Atkin. And, you know, Polly Atkin's interesting because she's really been championing the fact that there are types of poems written by poets with disabilities which are not thought to be nature poems. But I think that's just indicating a kind of smallness in what we think of as a nature poem. And we need to change that, just detonate that and look at, you know, what different voices are telling us, which is really important.
Because this love. It has an epigraph from the hymn to Ishtar from 1600 BC. In lips she is sweet, life is in her mouth. Because this love is strong as a rope, because words on the page are not kisses on the mouth, because I am strong and I am not strong, because there is a crack in the eggshell, because something is tapping its way out, because I climb to hang from you, because my body ornaments yours, because I dreamed in the little hollow, because you stood over me, because you unwrapped me, because my skin was grey and silver under the moonlight, because I talk too much, because I say too much, because there are times when you say too little, because there is space behind text where emotion should be, because I cannot tell what feeling lies behind these letters, because I pour myself out, because nothing is left, because it seems unlikely that I would be that lucky, because I fly like a goose feather on the wind, because I cross oceans carried like a seed pod, because I am the wind itself that blows across the flat land, because I am visiting you now while you sleep, because I came out of the water naked to find you, because I watched over your bedside, because I left wet footprints on the floor, because I am looking for you behind my black lace, because I have given you my body to look at, because the body is bathed in salt and white fire, because I am not here but away in the greenwood, because you were delivered to me on a hot day in July, because it was a circling swallow that told me, because the Lady Ishtar wishes it, because Our Lady of Paradoxes forces me to bend, because I am bleeding for you each day, because you are close, perhaps in the next room, because I carry your voice inside like my own voice, because I am as tender for you as I'd be for my own child, because I dress in blue and look down at the ground, because I am innocent but I am not a virgin, because they tell me that whores are holy, because I can help what I am no more than a willow can, because I spend too long predicting what you must think, because I have laid my armour down, because I put my armour back on, because the armour is off again, silver in the grass, because I took off my clothes in the light of the camera, because I stood in the window of the studio naked, because I looked out through the glass with no fear, because in mirrors I could be a cloud or a succulent, because sometimes in mirrors I see a woman, because I laid the length of my body along the studio floor, because I wore only tulip petals veined with yellow, because I am soft and smooth and blank as the page, because I am stripping myself of my skin, because I am the one who will write myself, because we could not give each other what we promised. This love will be the death of me, but now I know that it will be a good death, one without too much pain, the pinch when it enters. I still hope for resurrection.
In terms of writing process, I think there are two aspects to it really. On the one hand, sometimes a line will just come to me. I'll be going for a walk or be out in a quiet place in nature. Some descriptive line or some way of explaining a situation will come to me, and that will be the beginning of a poem. Other times, what tends to happen is that I'll be thinking about something specific, like I'll think, oh, I really want to write a poem about this particular woman. Like I've written about the Bronte sisters, about La Malinche, who was the woman of Hernan Cortes, the conquistador, and I've written about Georgia O'Keeffe. And I'll really research, find out, gather as much information as I can. And then once I have that, I give myself the freedom just to try and get to the emotional heart of the story. But having that research, having those details, knowing stuff that will really make it authentic and true. I think that the editing process is really important. And it's just a case of trying to take the raw material and put it into a form that really makes it live. And maybe that's something that's very strict, like a sonnet, or maybe it's just finding the right kind of stanza for it in terms of couplets or tercets. Maybe it's just really thinking about the line breaks and the way that the lines fall. But either way, I think that has to be a really important part of the process. Anyway, in terms of what advice I would give creative writing students, I would say find the people around you in, circumstances like you who are new or beginning poets, and find the ones who think the same as you, who like the same kinds of poetry as you, and connect with them, read their poems, have them read yours, create a community. But don't just have people who do the same thing as you. Roger Robinson wrote a really great interview up for us for an issue of Magma 79 that I'm editing with Rob Mackenzie and Christian Evans. One of the things he said was, don't just have yes people around you. And I really agree with that. Have people who disagree with you, have people who will argue with you, and have people who will hold you accountable and ask you questions about the work that you're doing.